Hey everybody, Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com to talk about the greatest moments of the Ruthless Aggression era. Now, there are several names you could use for this era. You could call it the brand extension era. Some people call it simply the post-attitude era. Roughly, it's the period from when the brand extension first started to when WWE officially announced that they were going PG in July 2008. So that's a time period we're looking at. I asked people on Facebook and Twitter for their input, and I've come up with some moments here, in my opinion and in the opinion of many of the No DQ visitors, the greatest moments of the Ruthless Aggression era. So let's begin. Eric Bischoff appearing on Raw. This was July 2002. This was one of the most shocking moments in Raw history because nobody ever thought they would see Eric Bischoff in a WWE ring. After all the years of the bitter Monday Night Wars, it was just something that was extremely surreal to see Eric Bischoff on Raw, and then to see him and Vince McMahon embrace each other. That was just a jaw-dropping moment, and something you'll never forget. And then Eric Bischoff came out, and he became the general manager of Raw, which was also something you never thought you would see. So definitely, in terms of shock value, this was an all-time classic WWE moment. The rise of Brock Lesnar. WWE had a hot prospect with Brock Lesnar. He was an NCAA champion, and he was a huge guy. He was perfect for WWE. He had the size, and he looked like a monster. WWE signed him, and he was in OVW, and he was doing really well there. And they brought him up to the main roster, and they pushed him right out of the gate. They aligned him immediately with Paul Heyman, and they had him come out and just start destroying people. And it was incredible to see the rise of Brock Lesnar and how in such a short period of time he became one of the top superstars in WWE. And within 6 months, he ended up becoming WWE champion, undisputed champion, defeating The Rock at SummerSlam, and then going to SmackDown, defecting to SmackDown. So I mean, Brock Lesnar, was one of the fastest rising stars in WWE history, and like I said, to see his rise was something else. The comeback of Shawn Michaels. HBK made his triumphant return to WWE in 2002, and people never thought that they would see Shawn Michaels in a WWE ring again. He was gone for about 5 years, almost 5 years, and it was people thought that they wouldn't see Shawn Michaels at the same level. People thought that he would only be half as good as he was, and that the injuries would limit what he could do in the ring. But what we saw was that Shawn Michaels had not missed a beat. If anything, he became a smarter wrestler. I mean, he was more careful about taking risks, and they weren't as frequent, but when he did take risks, they meant something. And I think because of the injuries, it made him a smarter wrestler. And arguably his second run was better than his first run, and people never thought that he could come back and not only be as good as he was, but perhaps even be better. And a lot of people feel that when he came back, he had an even better run, and he would go on to win the very first Elimination Chamber. And that's the next topic here, the Elimination Chamber, a new match concept that was introduced during this period, during the Ruthless Aggression era. And they've always been memorable matches, and something different and kind of similar to a War Games match, except there's no teams. You just have every man for himself, and a new guy comes in every couple of minutes. But it was just a great concept, and the Survivor Series 2002 was a very memorable pay-per-view, and a lot of it was due to the fact that it was an MSG, but also the Elimination Chamber stipulation, and it became a major selling point for WWE pay-per-views. The very first Rock concert in 2003. This was one of my all-time favorite segments from The Rock, and this was when The Rock had turned heel and had gone Hollywood on the fans. I thought he was just tremendous here. He was singing about Sacramento and ripping into the city, and then he said that they had some fat-ass women, and then he had the line about he'll be sure to come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May. and the crowd reaction to that. I mean, they just erupted in boos. It was awesome. This whole thing was classic rock, and WWE tried to do several more rock concerts, but none of them really had the success of the first one. I mean, the first one was one of a kind. John Cena's freestyle raps. John Cena's rise in 2003, 2004, like Brock Lesnar, it was very interesting to watch him start from the bottom and work his way up to the top. And John Cena did it with attitude. He did it with Ruthless Aggression, as the period was named. He came out and started ripping into people with the freestyles, and they were vulgar, they were edgy, and he was quickly becoming one of the most over superstars on the roster. And then he won the title at WrestleMania, and at that point WWE changed his character around and turned him into the superhero John Cena character that he still plays to this day. But certainly what got him over in the first place were the freestyle raps. And I remember all the ones he cut on Big Show and Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, and I remember the parking lot brawls he had with Eddie Guerrero. So I mean, it was definitely a very exciting period, and John Cena was the focal point of some of these memorable segments. Brock Lesnar and Big Show breaking the ring. This was definitely one of the most memorable spots ever in WWE, and it took place on SmackDown. It might be the greatest segment in SmackDown history. I mean, that's definitely an arguable point. Brock Lesnar and the Big Show, Lesnar was doing the big superplex on Big Show, and then the ring just broke, and it was very shocking. You look at the audience, everybody was shocked to see it, and the referee had this look on his face like, what the hell just happened? Very, very captivating television, no doubt about it. Evolution. Evolution was another highlight of this period. The rise of Batista and Randy Orton, and Triple H dominating everybody, Ric Flair being there as the mentor and the guy to hold the group together. Evolution, one of the all-time great factions in wrestling history, and they were perhaps the top faction during this Ruthless Aggression period. Kane unmasking. This was summer 2003. This was a turning point in the career of Kane, and it was definitely something that needed to be done because the character had gotten stale, and this was a way to give Kane a new start and a renewed push as a monster heel. And we saw some crazy-ass segments. We saw Kane light JR on fire. We saw him tombstone Linda McMahon. We saw him electrocute Shane McMahon's testicles. So we got a lot of memorable moments during this period when Kane unmasked and became this renewed monster. Undertaker returns as the Dead Man. Undertaker came back in 2000 with the American Badass persona, and he played it for several years, but I think a lot of fans wanted to see the old Dead Man character return, and that was the classic Undertaker persona. And we finally got to see it at WrestleMania 20, and the icing on the cake was Paul Bearer coming back with The Undertaker, and definitely one of the all-time great WrestleMania moments when Undertaker made his epic return to WWE. Chris Benoit, oops, did I say Chris Benoit? And Eddie Guerrero as the world champions. This was something you never thought you would see, Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit not only getting pushed in WWE, but becoming world champions. And to see them in the ring together celebrating as WWE and World Heavyweight Champion, just completely surreal. You never thought you would see it. And very emotional, especially for fans that had been with these guys since day one, to finally see them at the close of WrestleMania celebrating as champions. Just it was a remarkable segment. Musical chairs. This was one of my all-time favorite Raw moments during this period, and one that people still remember to this day. And I think a lot of it was just due to Ric Flair, because he was so entertaining, and he really made this segment. The idea of it, a musical chairs segment on Raw, but you watch it, and Ric Flair was just so damn entertaining. that he really made it one of the all-time funniest segments in WWE. The Shawn Michaels heel run. I loved this. I thought that Shawn Michaels was at the top of his game, and he made his big comeback, and he was doing great. But then he went back to being a heel. He turned on Hulk Hogan to set up the Hogan versus Michaels match at SummerSlam, and I was so disappointed when this ended because I love this heel run. He did the Larry King segment mocking Hulk Hogan. And then when he came out in Montreal and the whole tease of Bret Hart returning, I loved it. I mean, Shawn Michaels was just so damn good here. And, the SummerSlam match was entertaining, and, he oversold for Hulk Hogan. And, I like the match, and, some people criticize Hulk Hogan for not being willing to put over Michaels. But whatever. I mean, we got some great moments here with Michaels. I'm just sad that it didn't last longer. Edge cashing in Money in the Bank. Edge won Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 21, and this was significant because it really put over the Money in the Bank concept and the idea of holding the briefcase and being able to cash it in. This is what got it over, and it was really crucial for the first cash-in to be something important. And when Edge did it, the crowd went absolutely nuts, and it made him a new superstar. It put him over the top, and it was a career-defining moment when he won the WWE title from John Cena at the New Year's Resolution pay-per-view. The ECW One Night Stand pay-per-views. Both of them, I think especially the first one, will go down as two of the all-time greatest WWE pay-per-views because they let it be authentic to ECW. Especially the first one, it really felt like an actual ECW pay-per-view and not a WWE ECW pay-per-view. So, I mean, that right there is just, it wasn't done before, and it really hasn't been done since, where you got a pay-per-view with such a unique atmosphere. Both shows were in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and you had those diehard old-school ECW fans, and you just don't get that. And to see all the established WWE guys getting booed, John Cena and so on and so forth, Eric Bischoff, JBL. I mean, it was great. And then the promos from Paul Heyman, and the old school ECW style matches, Mike Awesome, all these guys going out there and acting like they're old ECW characters. I mean, it was for ECW fans, it was a dream come true to be able to have this one more or two night stand pay-per-views. The return of DX reuniting in 2006. There was a tease in 2002, but of course Triple H turned on Shawn Michaels, and they had their prolonged feud. But to see them finally return in 2006, fans were waiting for it for a long time. They wanted to see Shawn Michaels and Triple H team together again and become friends, and that's what we saw. And some of the segments were hit and miss. Some of them were funny. Some of them were not so funny. But I think that there were more memorable moments than not. I remember them screwing with the audio when Vince was cutting a promo, and the whole Vince McMahon loves cocks, and shoving Big Show's Vince's head up Big Show's ass, and the impersonations. So there were a lot of cool, funny DX moments during their comeback. Vince McMahon getting his head shaved at WrestleMania 23 in Detroit. This was one of the all-time classic WrestleMania moments, and it still holds the record for the biggest pay-per-view buy rate in WWE or wrestling history, period. Say what you will about Donald Trump, but this match was a huge draw, and Vince McMahon has had the same hairstyle for decades, and to finally see him lose his hair, I mean, it was really significant, and just a classic moment for WrestleMania. And one more segment I want to talk about here is Floyd Mayweather punching out the Big Show at No Way Out 2008. WWE's had some very memorable celebrity moments. I just mentioned Donald Trump. And this was another great one. And the funny thing is, I was actually there in Las Vegas for this pay-per-view, and it really it had that big time feel to it. I mean, the crowd really felt like they were watching something special unfold, and they did the segment right. Floyd really punched the Big Show, and Big Show was I think he had a broken nose. I mean, blood was gushing from his nose, and it was just a really intense segment and a great way to kick off the build for the WrestleMania 24 match. So I mean, I really enjoyed this segment. Great way to get some mainstream publicity with Big Show and Floyd Mayweather. I loved it. Just a very, very cool segment. All right, that'll do it for my thoughts on the greatest moments of the Ruthless Aggression era. And I'm sure that there's other great moments here that I didn't mention. I always tend to miss some. So let me know what you think. YouTube.com/NoDQCAW. Leave a comment. Give me your feedback. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the very latest in WWE and TNA. Thanks for watching.